Hello friends, a brief video about Ukraine and the ramifications of any invasion to Ukraine and relation and how relevant it is to what happened last century and what's happening now and what will happen in the future. There is no need for you to go research the fine details or the fine-grained behavior of this and that, this entity, political entity, and that political entity. No. It's very obvious what's going on now. The Chinese regime, the Iran's regime, and the Russian regime are actually a tripod with three-legged direct rule of Israel. Basic and simple. There is no going about that. The high-ranked politicians do know that, and the wise resources or wise people in universities and here and there, they do know that fact. But what happened in the last century has not ended there, and there is continuation for it now. You may see hot war, not probably as bad or not as bad as it happened last century, but the onslaught of destabilizing the social values and societies of the West is definitely taking place and will intensify. So Israel means to do this. For Iran to take over the Middle East, I need not provide proof to you about that. China, Asia, Chinese regime, Asia, and I need not to prove prove anything to you about that. And last but not least, Russia and its surroundings, whether it's intervention in the Middle East or anywhere else now, and the future of Europe is meant by Israel to be under the hegemony and domination of the PutinS, and I say that in plural form. Putin is related, these are one family, Lenin and Stalin and Putin, and what's between. These are one family, one creed. Don't make a mistake about that. That's what it is. That's what it happened. The future of Europe is bleak. The Putins move very slow. They move across generations or probably centuries. They're very consistent. Fact of the matter is your politicians may already be cohorting with the Russian people, and I really pray that you, as a European citizen, realize this fact, that what happened in the last century is step one. There are multiple steps. Let's begin with World War I. And the General Foch said World War II was an armistice, and sure enough, 20 years later, World War II, when we know Nazism is sister of communism and sister of what's called Muslim Brotherhood in the Middle East, as well as Shiism, Iran's revolution and ISIS and so on. Right now, what's happening is it's the next step over in taking over Europe. And if you recall, between World War I last century and now, the transformation of society and countries in Europe is so severe, is so fundamental, is so overwhelming, is so overbearing, is so complete, is that the countries that existed for thousands of years are no longer the same, but not completely. So there is still grassroots feeling or people's feeling about their nationality and identity and society and certain things of certain values that they inherited. But now what's going to happen now is really going to be detrimental, right? The transformation that's taking place little by little is tremendous. So I encourage and I recommend for every European citizen to pay attention to this Russia-Ukraine debacle and ill intentions and sinister purpose of those Putins in Russia towards Ukraine, and that's not where it's going to end. This is only the opening round of intervening in Europe and probably taking over Europe. You may think this is drastic and exaggerated, and I'm thinking way beyond what's going on the ground. No. My witness is last century. Go ahead and visit the history and see what has been the facts on the ground in the last century. The transformation is detrimental, and if you don't care about the future, don't have any children, because these guys intend to do a lot of harm to you. Now, don't rely on your politicians. Politicians are always in the pocket of, they're always brothers, you know, they're always related to each other. So if you feel that you're going to be threatened by the Putins, you better volunteer now or coerce your government into taking a stand against those Putins, similar to you standing up against the vaccine. If you stand up against the vaccine thinking it's dangerous, believe me, it is, and the Putins are no less dangerous than the vaccine itself. It is highly likely that's where the vaccine came from, which is being developed probably for decades and so on, similar to AIDS, and when it was released from labs. Bottom line is this, it's your call to make, whether you're a politician, whether you're a normal citizen, whether it doesn't matter who you are. And it is now or never. Right now, there is little left in the form of freedom. You may have a lot of freedom going to clubs or bars or anything else, but if you start thinking about your country and trying to move it forward or cleanse it from the social ills and deprivation that has been imposed on it since the last century, you will be considered an extremist. And the development, the undercurrent that's taken place is very, very strong and very detrimental and very, very dark in nature. They will not spare you, not your livelihood, not your family. Believe it or not, if there's a time to believe in conspiracy, such as Animal Farm, or such as 1984, or such as We by Zamyatin, who is Russian, or Huxley, New World, Brave New World. This is definitely taking place now, and you may not realize it tomorrow or after tomorrow, but that's the purpose of arriving at that point. These were voices from within, and they are warning you and trying to probably scare you. There's nothing to be scared of. So if I am a European citizen, if I am a German person, and I am concerned about the future of my country, I would go volunteer in Ukraine. Because if you don't go fight them near Ukraine now, on the Ukrainian borders, you will most certainly fight them on your own borders later, and you have no choice but to do so if you want to do so. Or if not, your child will do so. That's that. Now, don't rely on the West for support. Because there's some backdraft going on, I'm going to tell you about. If you recall, Obama, who's a Falasha Jew, his father and his mother, whose name is Shemet, is Sephardic Ashkenazi mix, helped Putin seize Crimea. There's no doubt about that. Right now, I've been hearing from evangelists who are here in the US and pro-Israelis and so on. I heard this particular one who looks German American, but who looks from a German, English, Scottish heritage and so on. Here, local to Illinois, I saw him myself. He was talking about this country going so bad that he wants to migrate to Russia and so on. And that's not something that he was saying in public. That's not something that he's thinking himself. There is such movement in the United States to gut the United States because they don't deem it to be a good country anymore. They deem it to be a country of melting pot, of black people, of foreigners, of so and so. But believe me, he will be sorry if Trump has taken over. Trump, who is the pawn, a brother of Putin and brother of Lavrov and Netanyahu and so on. He will have been sorry because he and his folks who constitute the backbone of this country will have been the first to be eliminated. Experience happened in Russia itself. If you think the Russian communist revolution is a good thing, well, guess what? Go for it. Not that they're going to treat you any better than anyone else. You will still be that Russian conscript that takes whatever he needs or she needs and then give everything else to the state or the establishment for that matter. Please take all considerations here. Leave no chance for speculations or guesswork. Those Putins, if they come to your country, they will change it into hell, and your posterity and your children and grandchildren will suffer hell. It is time to fight them now or never, similar to what you're fighting, similar to the virus and the vaccine that you're fighting against. This is far worse, folks. I wish you luck. Please see the next tape. Watch the next tape. I have more to say about it with more evidence.